Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Rich Schwartzberg. I'm the head of customer success in Octopai, and a very warm welcome to everyone to today's webinar on the data catalog implementation. I'm delighted to see that you're all here, and I'm eager just to dive into the world of the data management and the data catalog and the profound impact it has on different organizations. I'm the head of customer success in Octopai. And I can assure you guys that today's session will be both informative and valuable. I've been personally involved in many data catalog implementations, and we in Octopai understand the different challenges that organizations face when it comes to effectively managing the data assets. In many cases, you have tons and tons of data assets. And even more challenging is actually implementing internally the data catalog. And that's why we have organized today this webinar, just to shed some light on the benefits and the best practices of the data catalog implementations as we know it. Well, in today's data-driven landscapes all over the world, businesses are actually generating an immense amount of data every second. However, without a proper strategy how to navigate between those different data assets that different organizations have, what's going to happen is that you'll face all kind of repetitive questions and overlapping of information. But fear not, guys, a well-implemented data catalog can actually transform the way you approach the data management within the organization. Well, let's be honest, many data catalog implementation are not that successful. Whether they are not even reaching a point of the internal release or to internal user, or it actually fails in the implementation process and it's end up that no one's working with the data catalogs. It's like it ends up to be a big giant that no one knows, but everyone pays for it. So just a little bit about Octopai, so you'll be familiar with me and with Octopai. Octopai is actually a comprehensive active metadata management platform that's designed to navigate complex data landscape. You hold all kind of source system, ETL tools, databases, reporting tool, the entire data landscape. What the platform actually does, it automates the data lineage, the discovery, and of course the catalog. It provides users with an extensive understanding of the data ecosystems. It covers data ecosystem, including on-prem, cloud-based system. What it actually does, it integrates seamlessly with different ETL, database analysis, reporting tools. So how actually do we do it? Octopai uses an automated metadata scanning and analysis. It's a SaaS platform. It reduces the time of manual data mapping and lineage tracking of the data population. Since we harvest and we curate all the metadata within your organization, we give you everything within our app, and you're able to populate it in one place. Okay, so let's dive directly into the data catalog implementation. So what is exactly a data catalog? You have so many phrases, so many terminations. Well, think of it as a digital library of your organizational common assets. Provides a kind of an inventory to all your data assets, including column, table, report, processes, policies, business terms, and it's shared to the entire organization, to all the different users. Well, a data catalog actually empowers the teams, the different teams within the organization to explore, to understand, to collaborate the data that they have. And what it actually does, it fosters a data-driven culture across the organization. So everyone can talk data and the same data. Well, the advantages of implementing data catalogs are actually numerous. First and foremost, what it does, it increases efficiency. With a centralized catalog, the team can easily locate the data they need. They can just search for it. And it reduces the time that the teams and the users spend on searching the information, and they can make better decisions. In addition, data catalog actually promotes the data governance, which is a buzzword that we are thinking about and hearing in the last few years. And it promotes the data governance and, of course, the compliance. And this actually comes to reducing risk. It ensures the data quality, security, and privacy. And everything you need for the regulation is one place. You can just search for the information and find it in no time. Well, in addition, data catalog actually encourage collaboration and knowledge sharing among the different team members, because it's for the entire organization, not just the technical people, not just the business people. It creates collaboration between the different systems. Well, by providing a clear understanding of the data that's available within the catalog, it breaks down the barriers between the departments and actually promotes the cross-functional insights and innovation. In addition, what it actually does, it empowers the data scientists and those analysts, business analysts and developers to share knowledge and have a better decision-making process, because you no longer think just about yourself and how you're gonna develop this report or how you're gonna create this information. You have to think 360, like everyone else is involved, and you can just click on the catalog, search what you want, and get a better grip on how you're going to do the project. Also, in many organizations, the people who knew something about a process or a table or a specific calculation are long gone, and actually the information are gone with them. And in many cases and in many organizations, I saw that tons of documentations, Excel sheets, other source to target documentation, they're located in different places within the organization. And it's almost impossible to find those. When actually you need the documentation, you'll never find it. When every piece of information on the data assets is in one place, like in the catalog, there's no one waiting for someone who knows the answer or might be familiar with something that was written, I don't know, in 2015. You can just find it in one place. This is the actual reason why you need those catalogs. Everything is documented in one place and promoting the shared knowledge. So this is the importance of the data catalog, but how do we do it? How do we start? It seemed like a huge project. Every time I speak to people and to different customers that start a project, they say, "Yo, God, it's a massive project. How do we do it? How do we break down in pieces?" So let's talk about how making it doable, by starting with a project planning. Before you go a deep dive and start populating data catalog, think ahead, do a project planning. So since we already know that the implementation of a data catalog, as I mentioned, is not easy, let's dive into the best practices that we saw that will guide us toward a successful implementation. Well, by starting, as I said, in the planning process. Implementing data catalog or collaborating within, I don't know, different data catalogs that you already have implemented. We in Octopai saw a lot of effort done, and we think these are the best practices that we recommend by using Octopai and all other different data catalog. Well, first we must define the types of data that will be included in the catalog. You need to understand the variety of data sources within the organization and determine which one are relevant or not. You may decide you're going to focus on reports only, and maybe just source systems. Some organization will focus on data tables. So every time I'm completely surprised to hear the purposes and the goals, and they're completely different within the organizations. You need to decide what you want to focus on. Well, in some cases, the development teams is busy all day answering questions from the business sides, and they wanted to stop and to talk to the business users only by the catalog. Well, in different organizations, the technical documentations are spread all over the place, so they want it centralized. So a clear understanding of your pain, and that will lead you to the clear understanding of your purpose, will set you to the right expectations, what you want to achieve by using a catalog. Second, it is important to have a clear understanding of the intended audience of the data catalogs. Who's going to use it? The different teams within the organization. You need to get everyone aligned to the catalog. Sell the catalog internally. Talk to the people whom you haven't talked to before. Sell the catalog. What's in it for them? When actually people feel involved, they tend to use and adopt the catalog more, since they invested time. So make sure that everyone is aligned and everyone is investing time in it. You have to figure out who are the key stakeholders from both the data and the business team, and you need to include them in the design and implementation discussion. We need to gather the valuable insights, so include everyone within this project. Well, data governance. Well, as we know, data governance plays a vital role in the effectiveness of a data catalog. It's essential to establish data governance policies and workflows to actually ensure that the catalog is accurate. Well, I always recommend different customers at the end of every design or product release or deployment to make sure that the catalog is up to date. It must be part of the checklist of the deployment that you have internally. By doing so, it actually helps to maintain the data integrity and build trust in the catalog content. So every time you add something, put it in the catalog, and then everyone knows it's there. Next, we'll talk standards. To actually ensure the consistency that we need to establish catalog metadata standards and data models. We need to define the guidelines such as header, descriptions, calculation. What do you want to save about these data assets? What is interesting for your organization? Well, by following these standards within the organization, the data catalog become reliable. Every time you know what you're going to find. And lastly, automating the metadata capture can significantly, let's say, smooth the process and reduce manual effort. A leveraging tool like we do in Octopai, well, we allow us to extract the metadata from the different data sources, and the automating saves time. You don't have to type everything and to insert every asset, but you have everything populated and you just need to add some information and keep it up to date. Well, by following these best practices, as we saw, what we do is we lay in the planning a strong foundation for the successful data catalog. So now let's be proactive. What actually needed to start the project? Well, I had numerous meetings in the past with data governance who don't know how to start such a large project. Well, guys, I said it's truly intimidating to do such a project. Well, the secret is start small, break it into pieces, and dream dreams you can achieve. No one will ever have all its metadata assets covered in the catalog. Once you understand this, you're on your way to success. That means that if you have within the data catalog, let's say 20% of your assets that create 80% of your internal knowledge or questions transportation, you're in a very, very good place. Well, that's going to start. First, milestones allow us to monitor the progress throughout the project lifecycle. We need to define key checkpoints. We can assess the completion of essential tasks, distribute work to different users, track the overall project timelines. We need to have those milestones. What we're going to do is going to help us in the implementation kickoff. This is the point to decide how far you want to go within the first step or the second step. Remember, all the time, remember this, short-term success can bring to long-term success. Well, I had a customer who gave, 5 users to populate 3 tables each. Those tables were of the most common tables within the organization. And after 1 month, only 1 month, it reduces the number of questions and everyone started referring to each other by the catalog. So set an achievable goal, something that you will see about after a month or 2 that will be successful. And it also helps you and the stakeholders, like what they want to see. If you're going to have a result within a month, you'll get everyone aligned. Now, let's discuss how we want to define the content of each milestone in the data catalog. Well, you need to start by beginning with identifying the data assets to be cataloged and prioritize them based on the importance and the impact within the organization. As I mentioned before, I'll go with the 20-80% rule. Choose a layer, choose a database, choose a reporting, or if you want to focus on processes, by categorizing and prioritizing the data assets, we can allocate resources effectively that we have in the project and ensure that the most critical assets are addressed first. Now, it is not only that we need to decide which asset to populate it, but we need to decide the requirement for each data asset. Well, you need to define the level of details you want for each data. When you're doing so, think of yourself populating these assets. And on the other way, using this asset, find the middle path. Don't overload those who populated. Don't leave essential data out. Moving forward, we must break our project into phases and assign responsibilities to ensure the smooth execution. Well, as more people will be part of the initial process, you will achieve more engagement down the road. People want to see the time and effort they invested makes a change. If someone will fill 3 tables, 4 tables, he will go back and see what other people do, and he will be more engaged with the data catalog. You need to break down the project into manageable phases. Don't overload the people, populate everything on 1 month. It's an ongoing process. And the last one is quality control. it is crucial to ensure that the captured metadata is accurate, it's complete, consistent. You as the project manager should do these quality control checks to inform, to perform a verify the integrity, reliability of the catalog data assets. You don't want one user to populate one sentence and the other one to write an entire phrase on it. You need everything aligned, and you need to monitor this process against the timeline and against the what you've decided that would be part of the data assets. So you need to monitor everything in all times. Okay, so these are the milestones, the importance. Define the milestones of the data catalog project, break it into phases and share the responsibilities, and of course, perform a quality control. So how do we prioritize? That's the question that I keep on getting from different customers. How to prioritize the data? Not all data assets are equally important. This is a sentence you need to remember. Not everyone is the same. Some data assets can have more significant impact on our business outcome. Well, it's essential to prioritize the effort and focus on the most critical and valuable data assets. In many cases, just adding 2 to 3 tables and you made a huge difference. Now, let's explore some criteria that I found usable to prioritize the data assets. But good prioritization as part of the planning mode will bring you good results. But between us guys, sometimes you even need to prioritize by the people. Who has the largest influence internally should get his assets populated first. This might lead to success. Just think about it. It's not have to be about the content. Sometimes it has to be about the person behind the data assets. Well, the first criteria is the frequency used data. These are the data assets that are accessed and used frequently by organization. Those are data assets that people ask the most about it. Those who makes the most problem. Those who make headaches to the entire organizations. You can include these the most popular reports, financial data. By prioritizing these assets, we ensure that the most frequent need in the organization is addressed, and it can easily accessible and available to support a day-to-day operation. The second criteria is a high value data. These are the data assets that are frequently used or have significant impact on our business outcome. For example, the assets that we use for daily reports to the CEO, for information that we export outside the organization, for vendors, for billing, those who create impact. And you can decide whether the impact is money or internal politics. The third one is business critical data. These are data assets that are vital to the operation of the organization. For example, you can say it's financial data, the product data, customer data. Those are the indication tables. So everything that's more business critical data. And the fourth criteria is that data that is difficult to find. These are the data assets that are hard to locate or those only 1 or 2 people within the organization know. You want to ensure that this information will not go out the door if those 2 people will leave the organization. Well, think about old projects that are rarely changes, but a small change is now required and it will take you the entire project just to change it. These are the assets that you're going to include within those assets that are difficult to find. And finally, we must consider new data assets. When new data assets are introduced into the organization, it's crucial to promptly add them to the data catalog. We need to make sure that the catalog is, alive and all new changes requests are updated. Well, by planning these criteria of prioritization, we can allocate the different resources and efforts to the right place. This will bring you to a success, even a shorter success of implementing the data catalog. Okay, so the content curation phase. Up until now, it was the planning step. Now, the actual work for everyone in the organization starts. So how do we implement it and how do we populate the data catalog? Well, in our data catalog implementation, populating the data catalog is the crucial step. You need everyone aligned. Well, these steps requires a collaboration and active participation from the stakeholders, the managers, the user, the developers, just everyone within the organization. Well, let's discuss two important aspects that I see of populating the data catalog: collaboration with data owners and making the data catalog a community project. And think about this phrase, community project. First, assign the relevant data owner or expert the responsibility of populating the data catalog. Each one gets a small chunk. Don't make it a burden, but on the other hand, everyone needs to be part of this process. Well, you need to monitor the process, as I mentioned before, be proactive, ask questions and ask people about the process. You need to create an approval mechanism. Someone needs to verify the content and approve it. Well, one more thing that I find very useful is to publish your progress and your peer progress. If you see that the person sits next to you is completed his task and you haven't started, it's gonna push you to start the project. So publish the results, let them see their peer progress. This makes a huge incentives to people to populate the catalog. Well, tag the people inside the catalog. Let them be the proud owners of data assets or a table or a process. You have a data owner, you have a data steward. Let different people be those people and let them be the proud owners. Well, you need to foster a sense of ownership and responsibility for the data catalog within the different users. Well, as I mentioned before, you need to mark this phrase as you go along in implementation and always think about it. It's a community project. That means involving all users. Allowing the different users to contribute to the data catalog will expands the knowledge, expands the awareness, and it will get you to where you want to go. Each user brings unique perspective, and you need all these users for a good data catalog implementation. Think community after this page. Okay, now after we've populated the first step, how do we use the catalog? Well, search and discovery mechanism play a crucial role in actually maximizing the utility and effectiveness of the catalog. It's not only need to populate it, it needs to be easy to search within the catalog for those who are not very technical to find themselves within the catalog, find whatever they want. Well, with a huge amount of data that's being cataloged, it's essential to have let's say, a robust search functionality that allows the different users to locate a specific data assets based on their requirements. But the search should be intuitive and save valuable time and effort. Otherwise, people will not use it, or they're going to spend hours on manually searching throughout the massive amount of data assets. Well, what I would recommend is to choose a tool that has a lot of filters, a lot of search, a lot of tags opportunity. You can tag a project, you can tag a department, you can tag a source system, you can use different filters on the different layers of information, on the data owners, on the dates that these data assets were inserted into the catalog. So you need to have more filters and more tags in order to navigate easily within the data catalog. And another thing that I would recommend is to be able to search data assets according to the owners. You can have a data owners, that's actually the business owner, and you have a data steward who's in charge of the assets on a more technical way. So when people ask questions, they can address the business user, they can address the technical users. So you can tag both of them within the data catalog. So I would recommend when you're searching for a catalog, choose those filters and ownership capabilities within the catalog. These are just few examples of what I would recommend, but keep in mind that in conclusion, search and discovery mechanisms are essential for maximizing the utility of the data catalog. So after we started searching within the data catalog, how do we create usage and how do we monitor the usage and create adoption? Well, monitoring usage and adoption is a must. You need to figure out what is working. And if it's not working, find it, check it, and change it. Don't complete the entire project and then figure out no one's working and it's hard to work with the data catalog. You need to figure out first, after a month, after 2 months, ask questions. While tracking the different users and how they interact with the catalog, you need to search for how many entries, do they ask the questions, whether it reduces the number of email, tickets, calls. So as a part of the project management, you need to ask those difficult questions and find the information. You need to figure out and identify the areas of improvement. Well, it might take a while, but it is not going, if it's not going according to the plan and the requirements that you had, think of a change. Think how you're going to change it. Maybe you need to educate more people, maybe you need to change the way that you populate it. It is very easy in data catalog just to give up and to leave the data catalog implementation, because we know data catalog implementations are hard and in many cases are not that successful. But if you monitor it on a monthly basis, it will bring you closer to success. Well, I would recommend monitor this: the number of active users, the frequency of the data catalog access, the different types of data assets that are most accessed. Find what's interesting for the people. Check the number of questions that they have in the catalog and whether it reduces the amount of questions that are asked to the technical teams. And of course, search for a user feedback. By monitoring these few indicators, what you can gain valuable insights that will help you uncover what you need to improve. Well, what you need to do is also to ask the different users for feedback. To understand the needs, you need to ask feedback from the business side. You need to ask feedback from the more technical side. Well, in addition, monitors helps us to identify and even to contact the provider for more training and for more support, or you can create it internally. But it helps you understand if you need adds more resources and assistance to enhance the experience. You need to figure out whether it's working or not. Well, in conclusion, let's say monitoring usage and adoption of the data catalog provides valuable insights and effectiveness of the usage patterns. So I know you've populated everything, you've reached this point, and it's nice to say, okay, I'm done. No, monitor everything. Well, data catalog is not a project with a start and a specific end. Sorry to tell you. It is here to stay within the organization, and it's always evolving. In the beginning, it requires lots of attention, but at the ongoing, well, it should become a common activity, like saving your work on your computer at the end of each day. You're going to need to populate the data assets or new data assets within the data catalog. You need an ongoing owner, someone who will provide ongoing maintenance and support, who will monitor this. He or she are very essential to ensure that the continued value and effectiveness of the data catalog. It's not a one-time project. Well, maintenance, support, they're crucial to keeping the data catalog up to date. For example, when you have a change request, a project, a dismissal of some assets, everything that I just mentioned should be updated within the catalog. You must include the catalog in every sprint project deployment checklist. This includes adding new data assets, updating the metadata, while incorporating any changes in the data sources and structure. Well, good maintenance guys create trust. If users trust the catalog, they will adopt it. Well, I also recommend providing multiple training sessions and even one-on-one support. This usually when you do a one-on-one training, well, it enables the different users to ask more questions, and then they feel more comfortable asking on a one-on-one training. So they will have, if they have a challenge, this will help them overcome these challenges. It will make them feel, I think, if you have good support, ask more questions, be more confident in using the catalog. So you need to think internally, what is the best practice and how you're using your internal support in order to help the data catalog implementation. And I would like to go back to getting feedbacks. It's really important. Gather feedbacks from the different users, understand the needs. Well, user feedback can shed the lights on the pain points, usability issues, and much more. The data, actually, at the end of the project, the data catalog needs to meet the changing needs of the users. So go ahead and get feedbacks every few months, not just once when you complete the first or second step of the catalog implementation. Well, as we come to the end of this webinar today on the data catalog implementation, I hope you guys have had you've gained valuable insights and knowledge about the essential aspects of building and utilizing a data catalog within the organization. I think we have a large range of topics the project planning, the purpose of data catalog, and what you have to do when you're curating the information, populating and monitor the data catalog. Well, I know it's a huge project, but keep in mind, start small, dream dreams you can achieve, and I wish you all the best of luck in implementing data catalog. So thank you everyone for joining me today to this session. And you will get a link to this session and the recording. And we will send you our email, and you will be able to ask questions. So thank you very much for joining me today. Have a great day.